because they're not. Yeah, yep, the pirate stat. Yeah, that's pretty much the course breakdown. This is a major, so every golfer you can think of is playing. Tiger is here. You're going to have Brooks Koepka, who's playing hot. You have Dustin Johnson. You got JT. You got Rory. Everybody's playing. So DraftKings, of course, cranked up all their contests, cranked up all their salaries. It's going to be an interesting week. So, Adam, you prepared yet?
Not quite.
Okay. So I'm going to go with.
We tried the Adam on the in the car, and it just is not worth it. So we're just going to have to wait for him to get home.
Yeah, that's cool. So the key stats that I am personally going with, I'm going to go with strokes gained approach, followed by strokes gained around the green. Then I'm probably going to go with bogey avoidance off the tee and then putting on POA. So these are POA greens. POA is notoriously tough, as we found out in the early swing of the PGA earlier this year. They just do not. These players do not like putting on them. So I think that's where I'm going to go for it. So
a guy like Tiger in this matchup, who obviously is going to be incredibly high owned, as he always is because it's Tiger.
Right.
Taking the long drives out of equation, does that help Tiger, since that's kind of not been his strength in his last years? I mean, he's been kind of wild off the tee. So does it help him or hurt him?
I personally think it helps him. Adam knows him a lot better than I do, but it seemed like whenever he put the driver away, he was way more accurate. And he was crushing 3-woods as far as some players' drivers. So
sure. Yeah, the guy's still a freaking stud.
Oh yeah. So I actually think it helps him a lot.
And obviously he's intimately familiar with this course. So.
Yeah. All these players really are, and I mean, look at Dustin Johnson, his course history. The last 5 years, he's got
second, a third, a fourth.
Yeah, second, a third, a fourth. Yeah, exactly. So, and what do we got? We got Brooks Koepka's won the last 2, so he could be the first PGA player ever to win 3 of the same tournament in a row. Now, granted, they're all on different courses, but
right.
It's an interesting thing to look at, is what kind of pressure would be on Koepka trying to three-peat the U.S. Open when he's probably playing the best golf he's ever played in his career.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. I mean, the couple of articles I read, both are fading Brooks. So it's.
I think a lot of that has to do with the price, because he's top salary at 11.6, and he didn't play great at the Canadian Open, but at RBC or whatever it was called. But we talked about that last week, where it's a warm-up. I didn't really think he would play great there. I think he was just getting ready to play. You know what I mean?
Yeah, it's just staying loose and hitting some balls and
exactly.
Not gunning for it. And yeah.
Where Rory had something to prove, because his last 2 or 3 tournaments were just horrible. He needed to fix his game. So, yeah. I think it's going to be interesting. There's a lot of good players playing, and a lot of people who fit the course well.
Absolutely.
I know a lot of people are high on Jordan Spieth after his performance in Canada, but I don't know.
Yeah. That's going to be interesting to see what I'm going to do. I don't really know. I'm gonna have to, unfortunately, listen to you guys off air, because I got to go to my kid's got a baseball game under the lights tonight, the only one of the season, against a rival team instead of the interleague play, against the town across the street here. So I'm going to have to go to that. So I'm going to have to let you guys break down golf as soon as Adam gets on board.
All right. We
I
can
might.
do that.
I may keep, maybe I'll take my small headset with me and plug into the phone, and I could interact while I'm at the game.
There you go.
So just waiting for Mr. White.
I am right here. Let's do this.
He's ready. All right, you guys have a blast. I'm going to be heading off to this baseball game, but I'll be listening in. So hopefully I'll be able to join in too. We'll see how the internet connection goes.
All right. Are you going to be able to kill the podcast later?
Yeah, I'm going to put myself on mute and show the lady how to handle that.
All right.
All right, guys. Enjoy the rest of the show if I don't talk to you later.
Okay.
Alrighty. So, Mark,
All right.
your course breakdown. Very nice. Very well done. Completely agree with your stat categories that you're looking at as well. Yeah, I mean, you got to hit fairways at this course because it's U.S. Open rough, but holes are shorter. You're going to have a lot of guys missing greens, so the scrambling stat, the strokes gained on the green, I'm definitely looking at pretty close to this week. There's a few guys I like that I typically don't this week, so I'm a little scared. Maybe that's a good thing. I don't know. We'll get to it.
Got to mix it up, right?
Yeah, I suppose. The last time I tried to get on Phil, though, it didn't work out so well. I think I wore him off, but I'm actually considering getting back on him, so we'll see what happens.
I don't know if I can do it. Don't know if I can do it.
I'm hearing a lot of Phil shade this week. I mean, people want him to win, but I don't think anyone's going to play him for the most part. I don't know if you have ownership pulled up in front of you, but I'm not thinking he's going to be super high owned, considering most of the touts, most of the podcasts I've listened to this week are not even talking about him or are not talking about him favorably. So we'll see what happens, man. It's going to be very interesting.
Yeah, let me pull up ownership here and see where it's trending.
Sounds good. Before we get into the stat breakdowns and who we like in each range and all that good stuff, can we just talk about how many great storylines there are this week at the U.S. Open?
Oh yeah, absolutely.
It's incredible. You got Tiger back at the site of his dominant 15-stroke win in 2000. You got Phil once again going for his career slam, finally winning the U.S. Open. He's got 5 runner-ups there. Never won the tournament. It's the only major he hasn't won. He won at Pebble earlier this year. Granted, it's Pro-Am, so he only played 2 rounds at Pebble. But he still won there. He's from Cali. He always plays well there. You got Brooks going for 3 straight U.S. Opens. DJ, this is the site of his first meltdown in 2010 at a major. I mean, you just got so many different storylines that are extremely interesting. You got Cantlay, who's a young, up-and-coming stud who just won at the Memorial. And then you got a bunch of guys lurking. Like, no one's talking about Ricky or Jason Day or Justin Rose or any of these guys who could, I mean, nobody would be shocked if they won at the end of the week. So it's just setting up to be a really exciting week, and I am looking forward to it quite a bit.
Yeah, this is one of those weeks where I want to play like 5 or 6 different lineups because there's so many players out there I want to play.
Yeah, I think I'm going to try and limit my player pool, get a little bit more condensed with it. I'm only playing at most 3 max entry tournaments this week. I'm not playing the $100 Millie Maker because that's just throwing your money in a pit of fire, basically.
Yeah.
So I'm getting a little more condensed with my ownership and hoping that the players I do have pop, and a couple of guys I think are going to be a little bit lower owned who I really like that are just going overlooked because you got these storylines that are taking the attention, and then guys that have been playing really well coming in who maybe aren't the best course fits. So we'll have to take a look at that.
All right. Well, where do you want to start?
Let's start up top. Let's go with the 10K and up range. We got 6 guys in that range, starting with Cantlay at the bottom at 10K, Brooks at 11.6, and 4 guys in between, and DJ, Tiger, Rory, and Spieth in that order. Any guys that are standing out to you in that top range? Either as plays or avoids?
Actually, I really want to try and play Dustin Johnson and Patrick Cantlay in the lineup. I really like those 2 at this tournament. Yeah,
I think you and probably the majority of the DFS community. I think guys are going to play.
Yeah,
I think a lot of guys are going to play that combo up top because Cantlay, you feel like you get a little bit of salary saving there. You got Spieth just above him at 10.3, and although he's shown some good form recently, he's not a guy that you feel comfortable at rostering at that price, I don't think. So, yeah, I mean, I get where you're coming from. I'm trying to fit in DJ and Tiger. I think those two guys are going to be top 5 at the end of the week and vying for the title when it's all said and done. So I love Cantlay. I think he's going to be so high owned, though. I'm not willing to play enough of him in tournaments to differentiate. So I'm going to play him in cash and load up on DJ and Tiger in this top range for tourneys.
Let's see where they're at, actually. So Cantlay's at 16.
Yeah, they both got to be close to 20.
DJ's at 18.
Yeah, I mean, since I'm playing 3 max, I suppose I could play Cantlay in 1 out of 3 lineups in each tournament and still be above the field average. But I think in some of those smaller, lower entries, that I think he'll be even higher on than he will be in some of the the 150 max entry tournaments. So thinking of playing Cantlay, I'm going pretty heavy in cash this week. So I was thinking of playing Cantlay in cash and then avoiding him in tourneys just to see if I can find some guys below him in that 9K range that pop that are going to be a little lower owned.
Yeah, I think that's a smart move, especially for cash.
Yeah, I think I don't want to be completely fading him because I think he's got a great chance to have a good week. But it's the U.S. Open; anything can happen. I'll kind of do a block in cash. Play him in cash and then avoid him in tourneys, and I think I'll be able to still profit even if he finishes somewhere in the range of 30th to 40th, I'll still be fine in cash, and you don't need him in tournaments if he's finishing kind of middle of the pack of the guys that make the cut. So that's my strategy on him. Brooks, I mean, it's hard to fade Brooks given how well he's played in majors recently. The guy didn't pick up a club from his PGA Championship victory until last Tuesday, the week of the RBC Canadian last week. So I don't know. I don't think I'm going to be on Brooks. He avoids a lot of West Coast tournaments because he hates putting on POA greens. And granted, he's obviously quite the stud and could pop up any week and win, but I think I'm taking that as an opportunity this week to fade him, going to his boy just below him at 11-3 and DJ. Tiger, I think, is set up for an awesome week. You guys touched on it. He's going to be able to take driver out of his hands on a lot of these holes and take advantage of his iron game into the greens. I think that does play right into his hands. Obviously, he knows not just the course very well, but the greens very well. It's in his neck of the woods where he grew up. I think it sets up really well for Tiger. I'm gonna have a hard time not playing him in 2/3 of all of my 3 max entry lineups. So I'm fading Rory as well. Completely fading Rory. He played amazing last week, but historically he's not great in U.S. Opens. He's not going to be able to use that driver as much of a weapon this week. So Rory's a guy I'm willing to fade because I think a lot of people will be on him, especially given the pricing came out before he dominated last week. So he's going to be very high owned, I believe, this week. What's his ownership looking like?
Let's see. 13.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm sure that'll climb.
I would expect it to climb. I think, he's one of those guys where maybe at the beginning of the week you go, oh, okay, it's a U.S. Open. Maybe I don't love Rory, but I think a lot of guys are going to click him when it comes down to it. His form's just too hard to ignore. He's played well all year. He's got 2 victories this year, one at the Players and one last week at the Canadian. So I think a lot of the guys are going to play him, but I don't see him dominating the way he did last week. That's for sure.
Yeah, and this is a week where you get a lot of I don't want to say amateur player, but everyday Joes who are playing DFS just because it's a major, it's the U.S. Open. So people who don't play it every week like we do, and they're going to go recency bias, and they're going to go big names. So they're going to be playing Tiger and Rory, right?
Sure. Yeah, no doubt about it, man. I think those are the guys that are going to draw the casual DFS guy to them, and Rory and obviously DJ as well. People know that Brooks has won 4 majors recently. So, yeah, that's kind of where I'm at in the top range. DJ and Tiger loading up on Cantlay and cash, basically fading the other guys completely. If you're only playing several lineups, you gotta take your stands where you can.
Yeah. So, Chris, you have any opinions about the 10K range?
Not really, no. I'm probably just gonna kind of go with my brand guys here and sprinkle in some other guys. So they're not quite 10K guys. So I'll pick one guy out of here, maybe